What is going on, guys? Skull Rider here. Episode 2 of Chainsaw Man has dropped, so this means it's time for yet another episode analysis. But before I get into this, I do want to apologize for some of the sloppy editing in the first video. It was just very rushed, as on top of doing these reviews, I'm trying to balance other things in life, so likely this whole series is not going to be as polished as I want it to be. I promise that, time permitting, I will try and make the quality of these videos the best I can and hopefully try and throw in a few meme edits as well. But anyway, let's get right into this. Chainsaw Man, Episode 2, Arrival in Tokyo. Oh, and of course a spoiler warning for anyone that wants to watch the episode. Watch it first, then come back and watch this video. So the episode begins with Denji falling pretty hard for Makima, which he continues to do for the whole rest of the episode. But initially, and by initially I mean like the first 30 seconds of the episode, Denji wasn't happy with the way Makima was treating him. And I initially thought that this would be a lasting conflict between the two. But it turns out, as soon as Makima shows a small act of kindness towards Denji, he immediately becomes very enticed with her. And soon does end up becoming a dog, even though that's not what he wanted to be. However, this is extremely understandable behavior because literally no one except for Pochita has ever treated Denji with any sort of love or affection. Alright, now let's talk about the new characters introduced and what I think about them. So first off is Aki, and really the first main impression I got from this guy is straight Megumi vibes. Well, yeah, he definitely does fit that stereotypical reserved but cool sidekick character. I think I'll end up liking this guy. He seems extremely determined and passionate about what he does, especially because he literally beats the utter crap out of Denji just for not thinking he'll take the job of devil hunting seriously. And that's pretty much the conflict/relationship between these two in the episode, that Aki is trying to give Denji a hard taste of reality when, in fact, this reality that Denji has been introduced to is actually a whole lot nicer and pretty much a paradise compared to the life he was living beforehand. But anywho, my theories aside, the other character we're introduced to in this episode is a fiend named Power. And I guess really all I can say about this character so far is that she is very energetic and could maybe be a bit annoying in the future, but I hope that doesn't happen. Again, this character didn't really do a whole lot in this episode because she was introduced like the last 5 minutes and then just smashed the devil to pieces. And honestly didn't really even talk much to Denji. Though because her and Denji are both fiends, I do see them both striking up a close and empathetic friendship in the future. But I am also super excited to see the whole team go on a mission together, as I can see a lot of their interactions being very fun and entertaining. But alright, speaking of character interactions, my number one problem this episode was Denji's behavior towards the female characters in this episode. Now, don't get me wrong, I understand that perverted characters are always a thing in shonen. There is always guaranteed at least one in every series. Now, I'm not saying that this character trait is inherently a bad thing, but more often than not, it doesn't really do much for me. Though there were actually times in this episode when it was used in a pretty humorous way. Like, I thought the moment with Denji revealing why he didn't actually want to get the room covered in blood was because he wanted just to snag a few of those magazines was pretty hilarious. However, I do think there are points in this episode where the behavior gets a little too out of hand, and in a way that gets me a little bit worried for Denji's character in the future. Before I criticize too much, I do want to say that yes, I absolutely understand Denji's attraction for females in general, and it's honestly more justified than pretty much all other perverts you're gonna find in shonen. However, I think there comes a point, especially if the character is a major one in the series, like the main protagonist, where the constant use of this behavior can actually ruin their character a little. A good example I can think of right now is Sanji from One Piece, and well, because I love the man, his attraction to female is taken a bit to the extreme sometimes. And while it does get pretty old over time, he's also done some pretty unredeemable actions throughout the story that honestly ruined his character for me a little bit. But back to Chainsaw Man. So the first half of this episode I thought was fine actually, and his attraction and obsession over Makima felt natural. But as the episode goes on and he declares his other goal, that kind of just becomes his whole obsession and motivation for the rest of the episode. When Power is introduced, Denji does make the initial note that she's a fiend and a lot similar to him. But for the entire rest of the episode, even as the two go on a mission, really the only thing he can think about is her, yeah. Denji even stated that he didn't really care what her personality was like as long as she was hot, which really implies that he doesn't really care much about who he's working with and what she's like. Rather, he just objectifies her immediately. Well, yes, in a sense, Denji did the same thing with Makima. She actually had to show an act of kindness to him first before he became as entranced over her as he did. So yeah, I don't know. I'm just hoping that Denji doesn't de-evolve into the typical shonen pervert that just sees a woman's body before anything else. But yeah, overall this was still a really good episode with some amazing moments. My favorite being when Denji stated to Aki why exactly he wanted to remain a devil hunter, saying that it's really the only decent life he's ever known and doesn't really care what the risks are. That was just a super powerful moment because it showed that Denji was really content with whatever would happen to him in this new job. But yeah, episode 2 was a blast, and I'm really excited to see what's next for this ragtag team of devil hunters. This has been Skull Rider. Thank you all again so much for watching, and have a blessed day. See y'all in the next one.